because Rob is so passionate about this project that I want him to do the announcement himself.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks.
So, Rob, take the stage. It's yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Kijk, prachtig. Helemaal goed. As some of you know, I have a background in MES solutions, and so I was very happy when ICT Group contacted us to have a beautiful customer, which is Rijk Zwaan. They're actually professionals into vegetable enrichment and seed enrichment for lettuce, tomatoes, aubergines, cucumbers, name it. And I'm particularly fond of that. So what I'd like to share with you is the three people that will be on stage later, Hubertine Dolderson and Leendert Meinders from ICT Group. And I will start off with what we are talking about here, just briefly. Hubertine will dive deeper into that, and Leendert as well. First of all, it's vegetable enrichment and seed enrichment company. So with a long-term perspective for the future, they optimize whatever we are eating in a daily life. If you look at it in an automation perspective, the focus will be on a customized solution that's been built decades ago, which contained ERP functionality, MES functionality, and warehouse management functionality. And in Dutch we say it's an open hart operatie, which is basically a heart surgery operation in order to break apart these three components into three consumer off-the-shelf products. Now, where we stand here today is as a part of a knowledge cluster where Rijk Zwaan is the middle one, the end user, basically the pumping heart of the whole knowledge cluster. And back in the days, when this customized system, ERP, warehouse management, and MES was built, this knowledge cluster was consisting of these three aspects. So the end user, Rijk Zwaan, the advisory bureaus that consulted them, and the system integrator that customizedly built that system. What is striking is that AVEVA, or the technology stack with the technology provider, was not part of that. So bringing that in brings you to the stage where we are now. The reason for that, you just heard, or one of the reasons, is the CRA legislation that is coming ahead and the need to stay in tune with the latest technology. So the whole search was for a technology provider that could help them break apart this ERP, warehouse management, and MES functionality into logical pieces. Now, if you look at it in a simple way, then you could say that the MES stack from AVEVA is full continuously developing, and especially in the MES domain, all the expertise of the system integrators worldwide is looped back into the functionality of the product, so that this product is becoming more rich and rich every time and time again. That means that you come to a higher positioning of the functionality, the reliability, and the cybersecurity legislation-related aspects. Same counts for the system integrator. And the system integrator has a double role in the particular case of ICT Group. They're not just a system integrator. You remember in one of the former slides that this advisory bureau was also part of the picture, with Leendert leading the consultancy group within ICT. They basically have a phenomenal consultancy capability within the company. So it's not just a system integrator, but a system integrator plus. And that brings them with their experience, their know-how, their expertise to where we are now in the case of Rijk Zwaan. And as a result of that, the risk of such an open heart operation as we're looking at today is becoming lower. Although it's a high-risk operation, the risk is lower because of these components. Okay, this is my introduction to the Rijk Zwaan case. Hubertine, please step forward. De groene is vooruit, de rode is terug.
Thank you, Rob, for introducing me. Good morning, everybody. My name is Hubertine Doldersum. I work at Rijk Zwaan. I'm leading operations domain at Rijk Zwaan, and I'm happy to tell you a little bit more today about our transformation program, because that is what it is. It's not just an IT implementation program, it's much more than that. But before I tell you more about that, I will first introduce our company to you. Rijk Zwaan is a vegetable and fruit seed breeding company, which is founded in 1924 by Mr. Rijk Zwaan, which you see on this picture. What is typical about Rijk Zwaan is our very strong company culture, which has a huge people focus. We think people are the most important part of our organization. We give them a lot of freedom, but also a lot of responsibility. We still are an independent, family-owned company and are very determined to stay that in the long term. Furthermore, it's good to mention that we pay a lot of value on partnerships, and it's also very important in this whole transformation program we're in, so I will tell you a little bit more about that later. Here's some key figures about Rijk Zwaan. We currently are having 4,200 or a little bit more already employees within the company. We're worldwide, we're an international company, active in more than 30 countries and delivering our products in over 100 countries worldwide. Currently, we develop and sell more than 2,000 vegetable varieties. And maybe good to mention, this is a sheet which is showing the top 50, or this is actually the top 25, but it's an independent list of the Dutch companies who invest most in R&D activities. And as you see on this list, ASML, Philips are the leading companies. Rijk Zwaan has a strong 12th position in that. If I tell you a little bit more about seed breeding, to develop a new variety, in general, takes 6 to 16 years. You can imagine that this has to do with a lot of complexity in the whole breeding process. And to support that whole innovation, we invest yearly 30% of our turnover, which is actually more than 20 million euros each month in R&D. This is all because we need to do that to stay at this front-runner league in this rapidly changing market, and to also to provide security for a long-term independency. We work with a lot of international, but also in Holland with universities and with a lot of expertise institutes. Seeds are at the very, very beginning of the whole value chain. So it's all starting with a seed, but when we develop a seed, we actually look at the whole value chain. So for us, it's important to look at the needs for all the chains, so like the growers, the processors, the retailers, and in the end, of course, our end customers. So for us, it's all about value creation throughout the chain. And that's also how we are organized, and also plays an important role in how we organize our processes and also our support systems. Looking at our breeding targets, it's very important for us that we develop strong and resilient varieties, and this also includes increasing yield for our customers, but also better taste, better shapes, better color, all depending also on changing consumer needs. And then a little bit more about our supply chain, because as I told you, we pay a lot of attention to the whole R&D process, so the breeding process takes a long time. Once we then have a commercial variety, actually the supply chain starts with seed production. So with our DNA, with the seed we developed, we need to produce a lot of that to sell that to our customers, and we do that at different locations worldwide. We call that seed multiplication. We have our own facilities in several countries, and we carefully plan our whole seed production depending on the weather conditions, on the climates throughout the whole globe, but also the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, to mitigate any risks and to ensure that we have a year-round availability of vegetable seeds. After seed production, all the seeds are harvested, and we bring them all to the Netherlands. When I started at Rijk Zwaan 12 years ago, I thought, my God, we bring them all to the Netherlands, and then after that we distribute it to our customers again. But that's for a reason. In the Netherlands, in the Lier, where our headquarters is, it's a little village between Rotterdam and The Hague. We have all our own facilities to ensure that we control and make sure that we can deliver the right quality to our customers. We have our own laboratories and we have our own processing facilities where we do all specific treatments to make sure we reach the right quality. After packing, we then distribute our products to our customers worldwide. I like to dive a little bit into seed processing because it's my own area. And in the Netherlands, we do in the Lier, we have 2 plants where we actually, after the seeds arrive there, we do different variety, a different range of processes. We have, as I explained to you, we have a lot of different crops, a lot of different varieties, and a lot of these treatments are specific for specific crops. So it's all batch-wise processes. We have processes for only 1 kilogram of seed, but also tons of seeds. It's all depending on the crop. So it's a very complex process, and it starts with the seed cleaning and upgrading, where we use different technologies, mechanical cleaning or optical sorting, to make sure that we remove all the impurities from the seed batches, but also to make a selection that we only go further in the process with the real good quality seeds. And that all has to do with germination. So when we sell our seeds to our customers expect that every seed will become a germ and become a plant and where we can harvest the fruits from later. So quality is really core in our whole operations. And after we make that whole seed cleaning and upgrading process, we still have also several treatments which we can do. For example, we do a coating to our products to protect the products from soil-borne diseases, which can apply during the growing of the plant. We also do priming processes to really enrich the strength of the seedlings, or we make pills from our products so that our customers can do mechanical sowing. After all these different process steps, we pack our seeds and we deliver them to our customers worldwide. And the key and the main drivers for our supply chain have to do all with this quality control. We deliver in the highest segment to our customers, so we always want to have the highest quality. Process assurance within the operations is extremely important. We use these various specific treatments, and in the end, we pay a lot of attention to the security and delivery. For example, we have all our laboratories doubled in the Netherlands. We have laboratories in the Lier, but also in another part of the Netherlands. We have our labs. We have 2 production facilities, processing facilities in the Netherlands, where we spread all our processes. So we have, in fact, sort of 2 mirrored factories to mitigate risks in the whole supply chain. We divide all our inventory over several warehouses, also to avoid any risk of disruption in the supply chain. And you can imagine that this attention to the security of our processes, so the whole business continuity, which is really key for Rijk Zwaan, also brings more complexity to our processes. So in our whole transformation program where we're currently in, this also is something we have to deal with, how we design our processes. What we see over the last years is that our complexity in the world around us is really increasing. For example, the climate change, of course, is for us, brings new challenges in what kind of varieties we need to develop. But also the customer needs are changing, regulations worldwide are changing, and lack of labor is also a very important part where we have to deal with. And a lot of these developments actually also form the basis of why we have started this whole transformation program, which Rob already explained a little bit about it. We call it Voyager. It's the name of our program. And we said Voyager is our program towards a new future-proof system of new IT, an IT landscape. Our current IT systems do not support all our learned long-term ambitions and goals, so it's not future-proof. And therefore, we started already a couple of years ago the first ideas on how, what do we need and how are we approaching this. And sometimes we use this metaphor at Rijk Zwaan. This is a picture we use a lot internally as a metaphor for where we are. And on the left side, you see a car, a nice old car, which during the years was rebuilt over and over again with a lot of adaptations, a lot of extra gimmicks, a lot of extra stuff around that car. And actually, to be honest, the car is still driving. It still drives us from A to B. But you can imagine that this car is quite hard to maintain. And it's also less safe and is not that flexible and agile to bring us to all the long-term goals we need. So we need something else, and we don't want to rebuild this current car again, but we really have to build a new car that is solid, that is a standard model, that can really bring us to the future. And this is also what we're doing currently with our program. So the old car, the old systems, we really need to phase out, and we're implementing a complete new IT landscape. We don't do that in one step, or we do it in 2 steps. Actually, the first is like a minimum but solid version. And after that, we further develop and roll out the whole scope for our entire program. And the reason we do that is because it's, what Rob already said, it's really complex. And we need to first make a standard but minimum step to ensure that our business will continue to run as smoothly as it does now. So we don't want any disruptions in our operations. This whole program comes with a lot of program principles, and there are a few of them, but the main thing I'd like to mention is that a guiding principle in our program is standardized processes. So we want to standardize our processes as much as possible, use standard software, align our processes with standard software, and avoid any custom-made solutions. Of course, you can never do that 100%, but we have a very critical line on that, and that is a strong part of our program. And I'll tell you more about that later on. Well, by doing this program, we focus on standardization and keep our current quality and high delivery standards. A couple of years ago, we got in contact with ICT Group as a partner in this program. Rijk Zwaan values a lot on long-term partnerships. We really carefully select our partners, not only for the specific expertise in their domain, but also for their longer-term view, for how innovative they are, and how they can really help us with our long-term ambitions. In this program, we work with ICT Group as our advisor and an implementation partner. And meanwhile, we made already many steps together. We didn't received the go-live date yet. So for people who think they can already ask, how did it go and how did the go-live go, then we need to talk about it next year again. But Leendert can tell you a little bit more about how ICT Group approached this whole program and how they helped us with delivering and implementing the solution. So I'd like to invite Leendert to tell a bit more about that.
Yeah, so then the question is how to transform such a highly customized and an outdated system landscape with a modern and standardized landscape. And how to set up a system architecture that is a basis for future growth. These questions were asked by Rijk Zwaan to ICT Group. My name is Leendert Meijners and I work as manager business consultancy for ICT Group. And Rijk Zwaan realized in this process that standardization is key to these questions and also to answer these questions. And industry standards are very valuable to get an answer in this. As ICT Group, we started with our 4-step approach. And first of all, we started by getting insight in the business goals and to create an implementation roadmap. And I take you through the steps we did. As I said, first of all, we started to get insight in the business goals for Rijk Zwaan as a starting point. Because real business value is not about automation, but it's about what is the business value for Rijk Zwaan as a company. So together with all the important stakeholders within Rijk Zwaan, we did a workshop approach and we get insight into their business goals. And you can think about the high quality of seats that must be guaranteed, also in the flexibility of the supply chain, and also the ability to adopt changes in the supply chain or in regulations. And you can think also about the chain efficiency and the possibility to predict processes and the plannability of this, to secure the availability of the Rijk Zwaan products over the year. So these business goals were a very good starting point and basis for us to develop an automation roadmap. After that, we did several workshops to get insight in the business processes. Standardization of processes was one of the key topics for the Voyager program. And to get insight in these processes is a very good starting point. In various workshops, together with supply chain, internal, external distribution, quality, operations, we go through all the processes and we get a clear insight in these processes. And one of the characteristics of the processes for Rijk Zwaan is that quality is very important and go hand in hand with the operations. And the dynamic in the workflow and the work process for Rijk Zwaan is one very important topic. Because in the operation, and now we're talking about the seats are coming to the factory and then we process them to end products can be delivered to customers. In this process, this quality is used to define which process steps needs to be executed, and that is very dynamic. So this dynamics in the workflow and the combination of quality and operations is a very important topic in the process. What we did after we have the insight in the processes, we also make a mapping of onto the industry standard. So we dive deeper into the processes and see which processes were in line with industry standards and which applications were in line with industry standards and maybe which are not. Then industry standards, as I said, were very valuable on this. And when I talk about industry standards, we used, for example, ISA 95, ISA 88, the MES standard. And beside using the standards, it was also a knowledge impulse into the organization of Rijk Zwaan, helping them understanding these industry standards and how this can help to transform to a more standardized organization, that also processes can be standardized on a standard way. We created a clear demarcation in the application landscape for the full pyramid, so that we have a good demarcation which systems are responsible for which functionalities. This means, for example, a clear demarcation about master data, about the processes itself, for quality, and so on. Then we defined a target application model. And the target application model is not only for the processing itself, but it's about the chain for the seeds, from production in the field, over the countries, the operations in the Netherlands, but also sales and finance, and especially for supply and operations, that is where ICT Group has a role to implement the landscape for manufacturing operation management. Then I focus on the red part over here, and then we talk about manufacturing execution system, warehouse management, warehouse control orchestration, quality, and the data integration. Then, based on the target application model, we created a phasing strategy. How can we move from the current situation, which is highly customized, to the future landscape? How can we do that in several stages? Which scenarios are possible? And we also investigated the feasibility of these scenarios and the complexity. And based on all of that, we created a manufacturing operation management rollout roadmap to also realize this landscape. So then we had a rollout roadmap, and we have to make the next step. And we defined the business goals and requirements into requirements, business requirements and functional requirements for the landscape. And as ICT Group, we did that for the full manufacturing operation management roadmap. So the full layer 3 for ISA standard. Then, based on these requirements, we did the system selection. And now I will take you through specifically to the MES system selection. And why did we choose for AVEVA as a MES system? Well, we did the system selection was split up in two parts. First of all, we started with a long list of a lot of MES solutions, and then after we selected a short list, we made a final selection. So the first part was to come to a short list, and as you maybe know, there are many MES solutions, but they do not all fit to all organizations, and they are also not applying to the standards. So which solution to choose? We started in this case with 96 different solutions. And first of all, we selected solutions for the food and beverage market. This was important because Rijk Zwaan is part of this market. The vegetable seeds are in the beginning of the food chain. And for Rijk Zwaan, it's important that we are not one-off. We want to be one of the standards and use industry standards. So we selected solutions for this market. Then we dive deeper into the solutions and selected the solutions which support batch processes and discrete processes, because these are the processes which are applicable for the Rijk Zwaan operations. And then after that, we selected the solutions which support these dynamics in the workflows, where we can configure based on standard functionalities, these workflows, and also the business conditions. And then, after that, we did the fourth step, and we also checked which solutions can support the quality functions for Rijk Zwaan, because we have the combination of quality and operation. And after that, we did a final selection to come to a short list for a maximum of 3 solutions, where we selected the solutions based on the high-level criteria for Rijk Zwaan. You can think about interfacing criteria, but also the quality criteria and workflow criteria. Then we had a short list, and now to come to a final selection. That was the second part of the selection process. So, what did we do in the second part? We had the requirements, the business requirements and functional requirements, and made a mapping for the Rijk Zwaan requirements to that, the short list selection. We also did this for the non-functional requirements. You can think about cybersecurity, availability, all ISA-based non-functional requirements. We also did a vendor quality criteria selection. We had vendor criteria like availability in the countries where Rijk Zwaan is active, support in our own language, and so on. And we have got demos from all the suppliers. And in these demos, all the Rijk Zwaan stakeholders which were involved were available and filled in a scorecard for their own departments, how this solution applies to their own processes. And based on all of this, we selected AVEVA as MES for the basis for the operations and the quality processes. So that means MES, but also the quality module. Why AVEVA is the best fit? Well, AVEVA is an international player and leader in the food market. And as I told you, it's very important for Rijk Zwaan that we are not just a one-off, but we want to be to have a standard solution which is common in our market. Second, it's module-based, so it's also easy to expand in the future, not only for one site, but also multi-site. So that's also an important topic. And it's configurable, template-based, so we don't want a customized system, but a standard system which is flexible enough to configure all the dynamics in the workflows. And it's usable for a multi-site rollout, which is also important, where we can reuse this template. The user interface is modern, web-based. Web-based is also important for the possibilities to move to cloud options in the future. And it's model-driven, and it has a very strong workflow module, which fits to the requirements to Rijk Zwaan. Then the quality module was also an important topic for sample management, and you can think about quality master data, sample plans, and validations, which are also configured in this software. And quality master data is also related to recipe management and master data, and that's also very well fitting to the product lifecycle management architecture of Rijk Zwaan. So, we selected AVEVA as the partner and the solution for MES. And then in 2024, we were in Wommelgem, together with the team of Rijk Zwaan, ICT Group, and AVEVA Benelux. And AVEVA showed us more about their product and to bring the knowledge also to the customer. And it was a very good starting point for where we are now. So, then the question, what's next? We started with a phased implementation, a combination of design and implementation. And at this moment, we're almost finished with the creation of the configuration of the software. But the next step, and where are we now? That's a good point where Hubertine can tell you where we are now and what are the learnings and challenges we have. So I will hand over again to Hubertine to tell you more about that.
Thanks. It's still a nice picture of Wommelgem, which also shows the important part of being as a team together, and it was a really good start of this whole program. Yeah, where are we now? We're almost 6 months before go live. As Leonard explained, is that we're finishing the last parts of the whole software building, and we're testing currently. So design and build is finished, and we're testing all the functionalities, but also we've started to do the end-to-end chain tests now. And currently, we're also intensifying all our activities on business change and preparing for training. And furthermore, we defined our go-live strategy and also are running a separate project which is completely focusing on preparing for a smooth transition. Our go-live strategy will be a very controlled go-live within a period of 1 to 3 weeks. So it won't be a big bang, but we want to do that in a very controlled way, which means that we really are capable of very closely monitor every step we're taking and also adjust if it's needed to ensure that we don't make any mistakes and that we really have this whole go live as a success. So I compare it, if you talk about a car again, we first start in the first gear, slowly to the second one and to the third, and then increase our velocity. This level of precise, like a run book, we call it the cutover planning for the first, especially the first days, which is really almost like a schedule from minute to minute. We're currently preparing for that, and it's really important for safeguarding our whole business. Furthermore, we're really paying a lot of focus on business change. Because we are standardizing all our processes, we need to align our processes, and which also means that many processes in our operations will change. And that has a lot of impact, as you can imagine, on our teams, on our people. So to do this whole transition, you cannot approach this as an application or system implementation, but it's a whole program where the whole business needs to be involved and where we pay a lot of attention on the soft side as well. So we need to prepare all our teams step by step to not only be able to press the right buttons. They need to understand why we are doing this. The good thing of Rijk Zwaan is the strong people workforce and their entrepreneurship, and they're working mostly with us already for a long time. But you can imagine that if you worked with a system for more than 15 or 20 years, it's a huge change if you have to work with other processes and if your processes are not exactly the same as you're used to. So that asks a lot from our people, and so we pay a lot of attention to that, to take them along the journey, explain them why are we doing this, and to help them also to take the step, what we're saying, to get into the bus and drive with us towards the future, and also feel comfortable in knowing what they need to do and to have the ability and the capabilities of working with the new systems. So this is a strong focus in our program, and currently, we're intensifying that. We do change impact analysis with all the business process teams, starting to work on the new work instructions, to prepare for training, and helping them step by step towards go live. Furthermore, we're running a separate project. It's not a project within the Voyager program, but it's really a business project. We call it our crossover project. There are mainly colleagues from our supply chain department and operations department, also together with IT, they fully prepare the whole business on the go live and the period after that to make sure that we can allow us in that period to slow down our process activities, our distribution. So that it has all to do with planning ahead, building up stocks, maybe even deliver already stocks to our customers. So plan very secure for a smooth transition later on. It's also all to do with minimizing operational risks. Of course, this program comes with a lot of learnings and challenges, and I can talk hours about that. We probably will still learn much more than we did already, and we probably will also have much more challenges than we have already, because I can assure you this is not an easy one. This is a really complex program. I think what I mentioned, which is most important for us, is standardization. And at the same time, this is also a really huge challenge for us. At Rijk Zwaan, we think we're really special. And of course, we are. But we also always think that our processes are very special and that we need all kind of special things which are outside the standard. And we really had to learn that standardization is key and that we need to align our processes. And that was where ICT Group helped us a lot with. So there was a lot of injection of knowledge. We learned all with our teams a lot about the ISO 95 standards, how important demarcation is, about making a good target application model. And by learning more about these industry standards, you slowly also embrace the fact that standardization is really important. So it is a challenge to keep very critical on the decisions you make about if there is how to keep these standards. So this is also very important and a very important learning that we need to organize our complete program around that. So we have a very strong program governance to make these decisions along the way. Another one, which I think is really important to mention, I talked already about business change, but also about the whole engagement within the organization from senior management, even board members. They are in our steering committee because something like this really needs priority in the organization. You can imagine that this takes a lot of effort and a lot of capacity from our own people. And you cannot do 10 other things at the same time. So to prioritize this program and say no to other things, so really make choices, and sometimes there are the difficult trade-offs, and sometimes it's also hard to make choices, but we say this is our first priority for Rijk Zwaan to deliver. So this is very important to communicate about, to manage expectations in the business, to make sure that everybody is committed to this program and to work towards this go-live date. Going forward, as I told you, we do this step by step. We first built this solid base. So we built then this, I can really dream about in a year's time that we all finish it, that we have this first car. And then that really gives us the basis to further improve, to make much more use of data-driven decision-making, it is a base for further innovation, of use of AI, but also the importance of further connecting and integrating IT with operations. So the further connection between that and building a stronger IT-OT organization at Rijk Zwaan. Key takeaways, and I think it's nice, Rob and Leendert, if you also come to the stage. For Rijk Zwaan, key takeaways is collaboration with partnerships, Internally, of course, but essential also externally to drive this whole transformation. Standardization and willingness to do that is very important. Business change, it's critical for the success of this program. A strong program organization with strong governance and commitment and prioritization in the whole organization. Thank you for your attention, and feel free to ask any questions.
Are there any questions for one of the people on the stage? Come on. Who wants to catch the box?
Rijk, goede vorm.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you a lot. A nice story, but not finished yet.
Oh.
So fingers crossed. And I would like to see you back in a year. Is that possible?
I think then I can proudly tell about how the story finished.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Of course, we are always interested to see how our customers progress, and you will be around later. So,
Yeah.
any more? Leendert, Rob, I'll first throw it to you because you have a direct line to the one at the back.
Oh.
Mag ik de klikken weer?
Ja, natuurlijk.
Thank you. I just want to know if there is any machine integration, SCADA system, PLCs also, I'm not sure. And second question about rolling out this solution to different plants, how easy it would be, maybe it is more towards ICT. So these two questions I have.
To your first question, the connection to the next layer to SCADA is not in current scope. We have already connections there, but we decided to do that in the phase after go live of this whole plateau, because it's already complex and big enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe it's also good to imagine that it's about a business change. It's about standardization of the business processes, and that is key in this phase of the project. So we started with that, and then later on we can do the coupling with the machines.
And there also in the SCADA level or PLC, you still have the AVEVA systems, or you have another one? Maybe that was also one of the criteria why you chose AVEVA MES.
Within the automation pyramid, for every separate system, we choose the best system in the market. But for the SCADA system, there is also an AVEVA SCADA system in it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. And my second question, like rollout to other plants, like what is it going to be easy, or what challenges you think you will have later on?
Good question. We will also roll this out to production facilities internationally. Within Rijk Zwaan, we have our processing plants. We have 2 in the Netherlands, so we don't have other plants internationally. But this is certainly the platform which we will use for further expansion if needed. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Kijk.
Ik pak hem.
Okay, Rob, Leendert, Hubertine, if you can come centrally on the stage, then we can do a thank you. So, thank you. What's really inspiring to see is the people aspect in this project. So, in change management, the people matter the most. Being together in a single room in our office in Wommegem, that truly helped. So, I'm really glad to hear that you enjoyed that experience, and we are looking forward to see where the journey ends. And you're a very good speaker, by the way. So I have to give you that compliment. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jij ook, Leendert. Dank je wel.